until that day. Talkers out of faith. Catch us, you watch you progress, I want to keep away. But for now, hey, I'm staying free.
Loving local music, man. It's Patrick Dion and Camtonio teaming up with Blossom on this one titled Wanna Love You. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Mix, 10 minutes past 8 op 'n Woensdagoggend. Morgen, Maria.
Good morning.
It's nice to be back here, man.
Yeah, you've been gone. You've been out of action.
Yes, man. I actually missed being in the studio. It's one of those things you can't explain, but when you're at home, you're just thinking about, I wonder what's happening. I wonder who's commenting. I wonder what you guys are talking about. But yeah.
Yeah, I actually missed nothing.
Is it?
Yeah. I can't hear myself.
Fix that cable. Your cable has got issues there.
Yeah, no, I can't.
I say.
Now?
Silence.
Still?
Now it's quiet. I think Shine should fix your headphones there.
You know what?
That is Ilem.
Let me...
You decide you want to go back to your chair.
Just give me my mic. It's fine.
Okay. Good morning, guys. I see a bunch of you are already busy on the live stream, already coming through with your comments and so on. Good morning to all of you. Like I said, it's good to be back. Tata Neville not joining us this morning, but there's a lot that has been happening in the past 2 days or so.
And also, you didn't miss anything because we actually didn't really have broadcasts.
Oh, we were sort of... Oh.
Yeah, on the Monday, we had
Katrina's case in the culture.
So that was live streamed and Shines had to rush out. And yesterday we had the cabinet opening by the president. So
that is actually the talk of the town this morning.
Yes.
Yeah, I was reading bits and pieces of it this morning, just scrolling through the dailies. I didn't actually watch the live stream yesterday. Maybe just a quick update before we get into it.
Okay, there were a few things, but I myself was in attendance.
At State House.
At State House, yeah. The first thing, he has said he's not the same Hage, so he's a new person.
I'm a different Hage. Yes.
I'm a different Hage. Whatever version you had of the president, let it go. He's a new man. That's the first thing. And obviously he dubbed 2020 the year of introspection, which is a bit strange, this rhetorics, but anyway. And then he obviously addressed a few things like incompetent minister. Another big thing I think that came out is that he's going to downsize
the cabinet.
Yeah. He did tell the public and the electorate that he has heard them. He made some other... I think he wants to give a clear message that it's not going to be business as usual.
Things are not going to be the same.
Things are not going to be the same. Things are definitely changing. He's talking about action plans, implementation, regaining public confidence, because we know if that's not worked on, there's going to be problems for
2024.
Yeah, I think that's just the gist of what was said, but yeah.
Interesting. I did read also the president talking about all ministers being required to basically declare their assets before being sworn in again.
He didn't really say it's a requirement, but what he did say, he kind of encouraged it. He said with the fish rot, the government and cabinet and ministers were tainted. And that this is one way that ministers could regain the confidence and trust of the public.
Yes.
By declaring their assets. I think it's a very important thing. I think it should, in fact, become law.
Yes.
It should become law.
Public officials, they must
Yeah.
declare their assets.
Yes. Your wealth must just be justifiable. Must be. So I don't know why it's not a law. I feel like, especially when you're stepping into public offices, you should let the people know what you have, what you don't have.
I think these are some of the policy, I guess, amendments that the president could bring into play during his second term. I don't know. Remains to be seen.
Yeah, those amendments would have been very difficult because we now know that the person that would have most likely from law reform to attorney general to justice, it would have not served his purpose to declare all his...
Oh, man. Speaking of that person, they are due in court in not next week, I think the week after that, on the 20th of February.
Is it the 20th, 27th?
It was the 20th last year?
Yes, they're due back.
Yeah.
I'm confusing it with the judgment for this case that they had gone to court for. Because they were in court. Well, they weren't in court yesterday, but their lawyers were in court yesterday because the search warrants. They are looking to kind of have those, their stuff was confiscated, and they're kind of looking to have that kind of done away with. So yeah, I think all of them, with the exception of Fiti Hatuikulipi, brought the matter forward. It's just about the positions being the person in possession is seized, rather. Yeah, and that they want those search warrants kind of
rescinded, basically.
Impunged, I would say.
Okay, there was the I don't know. I was chatting to Sammy this morning, and he was telling me about one of the lawyers who basically fled the country.
Yes, that was in one of the dailies. Apparently, 90 million went through this lawyer's account, and the ACC is searching for him, and he's since gone to Cape Town. Seems to have just gone AWOL because even his colleagues don't know when he'll be back. He left on the 17th of January, has not been back.
We don't know why he went to. We don't know. Yeah.
Interestingly, I'm getting information, and it's unconfirmed. I always like to tell people that it's unconfirmed.
Yes.
That initially, within the ACC, there was an attempt to turn him into a state witness.
Ah, I see.
Yes, there was
they
an
wanted
attempt.
to flip him.
They wanted to flip him, so they wanted to turn him, or there were suggestions to turn him into a state witness, but Paulus Noah rejected. He was like, near. He's going to be trying like everybody else, you know? So, and whether that's, I think if he had turned him into a state witness, maybe it would have been good, but also the other side, it depends how much they have. And also because he's white, if he had been turned into a state witness, you know how the race card would have been like, a state witness, Rak. You know, when he's also stolen money, it would have just seemed like going softer on him. And with the racial issues and tensions that can pop up in such issues, it wouldn't have really reflected good on ACC.
It would have become
so maybe that's where Paulus was like mitigated, or just felt they had enough to. And they probably do. I mean, if 90 million went through your account, I think that's enough evidence.
His hands are really, really dirty. Maybe they're like, we can't let you get away scot-free.
Yeah.
But this, I think, sort of weakens their bail application, if there is going to be any forthcoming.
A lot of things have.
Because I was thinking, you know what, like the whole delay, especially now with so many other things going through the courts, you know, the public would be distracted and they would come and, you know, get their bail, and then the issue is going to die slowly, like so many other things. But this, I think, sort of weakens that stance. How are you going to give them bail when you can see some of the accused are sort of trying to run from the law?
Well, I don't think presiding officers would necessarily, because it's different cases, different matters. But what it boils down to is the public interest. So obviously, every time a new name pops up, you know, the public the interest peaks.
Yes.
And we're angry from scratch again. And it's a whole discussion. So, and then obviously that's always something to factor when you're granting bail. Public interest. So, whether it's in the interest of the public
to actually grant
bail or not. So I think in that instance, this is the way it will affect them. But I don't think that the presiding officer will say, oh yeah, well, your lawyer's also being searched for right now.
Your lawyer ran away.
Yeah.
Who says you might not go join him?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Sorry, I was saying it's interesting because this is the same lawyer that Saki used to sue Job for calling him the epitome of corruption.
Oh, karma.
I say the jokes keep writing themselves.
Oh, man. It's going to be a great year for stand-up comedians. I can tell you that. Let's check out some comments. Leonie Strauss saying good morning. Our very first comment for today. Toby Nekwaya, good morning, partners. Jack Andrews also saying good morning. Good morning from Rivaldo. Good morning, guys. Cubase, welcome back. Thank you, Precious. Adam Gerson saying good morning. Or is it Gerson? I had a friend in high school who didn't want to be named Gerson. Apparently it's Gerson. No, it's not Gerson. Benny Amupolo also saying good morning. Joao Antonio Ramos. Morning. That is Ian van Maria's Brass because I don't have any.
I also don't know. Not everybody with an Angolan type name is Memensa.
Is it?
Yeah.
Hey, jy hang maar met J-Lo goed by jou. You're a superstar in Angola. Bradley Kubiseb, yeah, there they are, morning fam. Please don't say you guys are going to be having a short one again to go stream the Supreme Court session. We want a full show as a belief. By the way, welcome back, Cubase. Thank you. Welcome back, Mr. Q, Van Makwa, Pombili Elson, also saying good morning, Moro Moro.
Morning.
Bradley Lach Eche. So Cubase, you don't tune in during the week. Koop 'n ander phone asseblief en gooi Tamagotchi weg. No, it's not because of my Tamagotchi, guys. Come on. My neighbor has got Wi-Fi. So I can still stream the show from home. But I don't know, there's just something about my downtime. Like, for instance, I think Sunday evening, I put my phone on silent and I just put it on top of the fridge.
And it's been on silence for 2 days.
Like this morning when I was finally getting ready to leave the house, I went to go take it and to Hanak Nudiri messages and missed calls and all of that. It's just my downtime. Where are we? Good morning, crew from Tangeni. Robert Dietrich, good morning, Lady and Cubase. Good morning, my lovely people from Chandre. Morning, guys. Okay, you guys are greeting me. Adam Gerson, what a top this one. I'll be late for work today. Guys, welcome back, Cubase. Morning, fam. Good morning, Q. Welcome back. Thank you, man. Thank you. It's nice to see you guys come and missed me. Can we make Maria our people's lawyer, please, Cubase?
Yes. Maybe for the title.
Talking about regaining the public's trust and confidence, how does the government explain the fact that they gave permission to those Icelandic vessels to leave? Right, just after some of those fishermen were reinstated in their job, and now they've lost their jobs again. What is the issue with this? I mean, Samaria, I think they want to pull out.
No, they pulled
of
out.
Operations, or they pulled out
They pulled out.
But then, did we even have any sort of leverage to sort of try and keep them here?
Well, that's a question. I think we should have had some leverage. You're not going to let people pack up their house. Okay, let's do this, right? Let me say this. You're renting from a landlord. Now you've not paid rent as a tenant for 6 months. Now, at night, you clean out your house, put all your belongings on the back of a truck, and go. The next morning, the landlord comes. He says, "Lig,
yeah,
you're gone. You have not paid rent for 6 months. You've vanished. You can't even take your furniture as collateral." Next thing,
your house is still there, Mos. I didn't break it. At least I didn't take that.
Other people put locks on the house.
Yeah.
So that the belonging inside is collateral.
You don't take anything out of this house.
You don't take anything till we resolve this issue.
Yeah.
Why are they able to take their ships out and everything?
Yeah, I guess maybe we should have impounded one or two of the ships. But then on what grounds? Corruption?
No, there's a lot of this. I mean, it's a whole business that I'm sure still owes in Texas, still owes in back pay of employees, that has not settled, like even the police, social securities and all these things, basically just left.
Well, we can still claim that, even though they're not still operating here.
Claim how? This is in Iceland.
Icelanders must know. It's not on another planet.
That's the problem.
Come on.
This, I have.
We're able to fly to Iceland and go drive jet skis and stuff.
Right.
so
the Labour Commissioner is going to go to Iceland and resolve these issues in Iceland.
Don't they have like a consulate here in Namibia?
Man, I don't think Iceland has a consulate, but here even if that's an embassy. Embassy doesn't get involved in personal matters like this. It's not their responsibility or duties or jurisdiction, actually.
Interesting. It's interesting. But I can see there is quite an uproar about them being allowed to leave the country in the dead of the night, so to speak. Of course, a lot of fishermen losing their jobs once again. After so many more lost their jobs due to the actions of this company.
Look, the closure was inevitable. I think with the reputation they currently have, and then also now for us now to find out how they were getting their quotas, and the people that were serving their interests are locked away. Of course, it's going to be very difficult to operate because you are, number one, not really a legitimate, for lack of a better word. Yeah, you're a legitimate business. You're registered, yes. But your way of business was not legitimate. So, of course, you're not going to survive, right? Because you're not doing things
because
legitimate.
Now there's going to be so much scrutiny on the company. Everything you do is going to be scrutinized.
And the likelihood, and like I said, lack of trust. So, of course, they were always going to close shop. That was an easy prediction. But, I mean, there were, obviously some mitigating factors that should have been considered, and it shouldn't just be a closing up and going.
We should have taken one or two of those ships.
Net Ian vessel is $1 billion die. Net Ian.
William Gagnone. Good morning, you two. Remember Big Brother is watching you, Big Brother. Come see Big Brother. What do they call that room, Muka, in which people go sit and talk to Big Brother?
Oh, the diary room.
Yeah. Kashatenya Pele saying Hawk Cody. The best what? Yeah, the best invitation of asset declaration makes so much sense, and he should make it compulsory for each and every one of them, which should include the 2 convicted or 3, so to include Honorable Katrina. I mean, but this is not a new conversation, the conversation of declaring assets. I remember the president, I think, declared his assets at the beginning of his previous term, which is not finished yet. So, and he encouraged other ministers. I think there were a couple of ministers who did actually come out and declare their assets, but not the bulk of them.
The asset declaration is not a new thing also, but previously it was never done publicly. Like it's, they were encouraged to do it. They do it kind of on the records, but we weren't really allowed to see that, and not everybody did it. And then obviously when he stepped into office, he tried to be an example. So him and the first lady declared their assets, kind of just lead the way. Some followed suit, some didn't. I don't really think there was enough scrutiny to really assess and see if this is all of it. I don't know if we have that level of.
Who was going to scrutinize?
Like
ACC.
That's what I'm saying. Even if it's just journalists.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
But it's very difficult with information because, there's just information is not always accessible in this country. So even if you want to scrutinize, we don't really have. I don't think we have access to information to the level that we need to be efficient in that sense. We're not Malaysia. We're not a Malaysia. So yeah. But in any event, I think I'm just trying to hear what do people think about this 2020 year of. For me, it's weird because yesterday was the year. Last year was the year of accountability, and I think the previous year was the year of. I think the first year was the year of reckoning, right? And then I might get my wires screwed. The year of reckoning, the year of.
It sounds like all this.
It's rhetorics.
Yes, it just sounds things that sound nice. They sound like there's something actually.
But it's
moving.
weird. It's weird to. I think it's weird to do introspection after accountability.
Okay, now we've held people accountable.
I feel like introspection should come. There should be accountability, and then there should be action. Right? And then after action, maybe you do introspection of everything else that has. I feel like introspection, in fact, should have been his last year in office. Like, let's do introspection, where we started, where we are. Let's do this overview, assess this 10 years. What have we managed? What have we done? That introspection should really take place towards, I think, the end.
Towards the end, yeah.
Unless he's saying this is the end right now. I don't know.
I could hear some people claiming that
he knows the verdict.
Yeah, it sounded like a victory speech.
It kind of. I'm not gonna lie. I had the same feeling. I have the same feeling, but maybe I'm just suspicious like that because to say, especially towards the end when you say, accept the results of the judgment of tomorrow. It just seems like a little, or maybe we're just reading too much into it. And he's just, he's not a sore loser, and he's basically just saying whatever the outcome, let's respect the courts. It could just be that. But obviously, if you're trying to kind of read between the lines, you will come to that conclusion.
To the conclusion that there's some foreknowledge of the verdict here.
Yes.
Interesting. Checking out some more comments. David Balombeleni Kamulu. Good morning, crew. Public to suggest new name for the next police operation. Is it really necessary?
Well, they said they're not going to, because they're scared of civil war.
But this word has been bantered around lately.
I absolutely, I'm tired of it, and I just want to go on record and say it. They must stop telling us that we're trying to instigate or whatever. There are sectors in the society that are looking for civil war. Because number one, I can tell you now, the youth, we don't have the tools. When I say tools, we don't have weapons. I mean, that's what you need for civil war, right? Number two, who's going to fund us? Okay? Because all civil wars are funded by somebody. Somebody with a vested interest. Who has a vested interest in Namibia that they're our what do you call it? Disability.
Instability.
Instability, there we go. Oh my God. Our instability would benefit them because that's how people get involved in civil wars. So funding and giving weapons and funding the civil wars is because there's a vested interest. I don't think anybody would benefit from instability in this country. Number three, yes, with what energy and guts? We, for the most part, we are apparently keyboard warriors. On so fun, now social media.
We don't have the stomach to be running around
we don't.
shooting.
We are generally just docile people. We don't like conflict and confrontation in that sense.
Definitely.
So we know this is why even Kalahari, if we're going to be very clear, they can smack people around and get away with it because we don't riot. We're not like South Africa that riots. We don't go to the streets. Breaking, even the shops, breaking into stores and taking
looting
things and looting, and it's not in our nature. It's never been in our nature. Do you think a country like that will go into civil? Namibia will never, let me say this, there will never be civil war in this country. Never. Not with the character of the people we have in this country. We'll go to war maybe with other countries, but never civil war.
Against each other,
No.
I doubt it as well.
No.
I mean, for funding, we could have gone to Sameri, but they are all already on your side.
And also the people in there are also our family. Now who are you shooting at? Your uncle on the other side of government. Because we also have most of those people. I have relatives that are in cabinet.
Yes.
You understand? Come on.
I don't know. I think they keep throwing around the term to sort of scare people.
That's a scare tactic.
Scare people into submission, I guess. But
and to justify keeping the military on the street.
Young, that story. I believe
it's the most paranoia. It's like paranoia, and I call it old age paranoia because maybe you lived through war and whatever, but it must be paranoia because it's not lost on me that it's usually people 70 and up that are worried about civil war.
Nobody's trying to shoot at you, all right?
Nobody's
Relax.
trying to kill you. Relax.
Angelique Gangos joined the show. Good morning. Janine Nina Nikanor. Welcome back, Kyuta. My president was on point yesterday. Okay. All in all, do you think it was, a brighter moment in the presidency? Given everything that he's been going through of late.
A bright moment.
It's like, was it one of those moments that would make doubters say, okay, I'm willing to get behind you?
I don't necessarily think his words will change a skeptic. I think the only thing at this point that will kind of regain public trust is actions.
Yeah.
I think people are tired of talk because it's been all talk. And also we don't know what the action plan is. It says that we're going to put in place an action plan. We've heard it. I mean, we've heard now, I read in one of the dailies yesterday that he's not going to be traveling till June because he's heard the people complaining that he is always flying. So he said he's going to put those travels on hold till June, austerity measures and whatever. But at this point, I think if there is no re-election, assuming there won't be any re-election, I think moving forward in the next 5 years, his term, it's really, I think people are going to be studying his actions. And probably the first thing we're going to be looking at is when with downsizing his cabinet, we're going to look at how he's going to downsize it. We know that he's saying he's a new man. We know the old Hage would cut people, maybe ministers that are thorn in his foot. Not necessarily not proactive or aren't doing their duties, are just a bit of a problem to him.
Yes,
a bit uncomfortable.
I don't like these guys.
Yeah, I don't like how you got rid of Itula. Pendukeni, Ivula, Itana. She performed. She was a performing minister at Home Affairs. But it didn't matter because she was a thorn in his foot and he let her go. So it will be interesting now with the downsizing of the cabinet and saying he's a new man. What is he going to look at? Is he going to look at people that have, for him, like we know now, like he had a problem, and he said it yesterday, he clearly had a problem with outspoken ministers. The outspoken minister would be Minister Kali, Leon Schuster and Tom Alwendo.
Yes.
They've been very vocal. And he's made it clear yesterday that he didn't like that. He didn't like them speaking publicly and making the government look bad, and that, people should learn to either defend cabinet decision or shut up, but not go out and do what they did. So I know he's not happy with them. The question is, what are they going to do? But even those three that I just mentioned, those are actually happen to be performing ministers. Those are performing ministers. So if he moves them, we know it's personal, and he's not really a new Hage, and he's just doing it because he's being petty and he doesn't want them to be a pain.
And you must remember, these guys are accountable to the public.
Yes.
As much as maybe they're accountable to you as their boss, they are also accountable to us because they are public officials.
Yeah, so we will be studying that. And I mean, I know, for example, Leon Schuster.
Leon
Schuster. Oh, I keep saying Schuster. Leon Schuster. He's not somebody that you want to move right now. Because he's got policies in place that I think he needs to execute. He's really trying to clean house. And, if you move him now, you kind of destabilize that Ministry of Public Enterprises. But if he moves in, that's a petty move. Even if you just move him, that wouldn't make logical sense to me. You can't really move finance right now because austerity measures, with this economy, you kind of want to maintain your Minister of Finance that has been kind of going through the thing.
Yes.
And we know Tom Alwendo is doing an amazing job. So those ministers should actually not even be moved. And even if you're downsizing, those ministries should be kept. So it will be interesting to see who he cuts out. Will he look at people that have been, because he said, we need to remember that he increased cabinet. We know why he's gone and said it is because he needed to create jobs for his comrades. Because he needed to secure a second term. Now he doesn't have to do that. He's safe. He's fairly safe. Well, depending on what judgment
comes out today.
Yeah. But let's assume that there's no re-election. He's fairly safe, unless they impeach him, which I doubt they will ever do.
That's never going to happen.
That's never going to happen. So he doesn't have to look over his head. He can kind of just do what he is. Maybe that's what he means by he's a new person, meaning that, look, now I'm going to do what I want to do without concern of a second term or trying to secure that and really get the job done. Because at the end of the day, every president wants to leave a legacy.
Yeah.
And I don't think, if he stepped out of office now, he's left a bad one. And I think at the next 5 years, he'll be looking to regain the trust and really be seen as that president that left his mark.
And that's what he was sort of saying, that this is going to be his legacy term. So we'll see. All right. Let me quickly run through comments. Our producer needs to run to the court. Yes. So,
but there's still time.
so he's whispering things here in the background. We're just going to ignore him. Bradley Kubisep says, jokes really keep writing themselves. I always thought of this of these guys that are being sent by the fish rod 8. Can't they really see that everyone that gets close to the fire gets burned?
Why are they 8 now? Is it in Is
Is
there 2 police officers that were added?
Yeah.
Plus Nigel. Yeah, so it was 6, now it's 9.
Oh, Nigel is the lawyer guy.
Nigel is the Saki's, the guy that works for Saki, Nigel van Wyk.
Oh, yeah. And the lawyer guy?
Okay, no, once he's arrested, that will be 10. But I'm saying right now we're on 9.
We're sitting on the fish rod 9.
Yeah.
Okay, Sameri owes us a lot. Can the legal society lay charges against them if ACC and government are all relaxing to take fast action? Job loss continues increasing. Johnny Whiteman Martin saying, Maria, introspection in fish rod, court elections ruling, we have all the money, nothing else to do with Namibian people but Hage and his foreign investors. Okay, that's one opinion. Hawk Ekoji, or Ekodi rather, it would or is always sensible how the head of state labels each 12 years. 12 years, right? The year of reckoning.
12 months, I think.
Yeah, 12 months, I guess. The year of reckoning was when so many things happened, which includes closing of tenders, and so the year of accountability speaks for itself. So many have been held accountable. I believe the head of state somehow has a vision. Okay. Robert Anthony Cornelius, we are tired of all this stuff going on. Don't we live a nice life? Oh, I saw there was a comment about, self-hating black people. Yeah, who was scrutinizing every rich black person and accusing them of corruption.
Like, let's be clear, there is self-hate amongst black people. You understand? I don't think this was one such instance.
Yes.
Us questioning and saying, well, your wealth, it can't be justified.
We don't question every black person who drives a luxury car.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, there's lots of... I doubt people are looking at Sidney Martin.
I was making that same example this morning.
People are not looking at Sidney Martin and Chico or even BH, Zaruka, Dimensa. Nobody's looking at them. Nobody's even looking at Franz Ndongo. Nobody's looking at those guys. Let's just be very clear. So it's not like we're looking at every black person a suspect.
Yeah.
But there are those that you it does raise a few flags. You're like, wait a minute.
Exactly.
Like Fiti, I saw he's got 12 properties, right? That was what was written in the newspaper. He's got 12 properties.
Like how?
How? You don't have a job. You don't even have a legitimate... When I say legitimate business, you don't have an office that you have staff and there's a whole operation there and you're paying salaries.
Yes.
You don't have that. He doesn't have anything like that. But he's got 12 properties to his name. At some point...
people will start questioning.
Yeah, and it's very interesting that all of this was accumulated from the time he became the son-in-law of the fisheries minister.
Yep.
That's when he accumulated this properties or bulk of them. Maybe he had 1 or 2, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the bulk of them. Come on, we're not going to tell me that's self-hate. These are legitimate questions.
And why are we not allowed to question? I mean, you guys, basically, not you guys, I mean, your government arrested Michael Amushelelo for... I don't even know what that was for. Maybe, the case, the details will come out at some point when he appears in court. But
they arrested a man that rents a house. Imagine.
Yeah, and who's trying to uplift his fellow young Namibians. But in any case, let's check out some more comments.
And we at least know where his money was coming from.
Exactly. Theo Hunibeb, I'm not in agreement with Maria. Hage had a plan since 2014, and he had a year of accountability, transparency, and reckoning. Now he declared this year as a year of introspection.
What does that mean for
To reflect on the first term. Netni Pratni, all right, research up on information, doch.
What is okay? I'm trying to
I don't
understand
get-
what do these things? What does accountability mean to you? The fish rot was not government; it was ACC. By the way, this was coming pending prior to that.
Yes,
and it happened towards the end of last year. Even though this minister, specifically Saki, had been so many times in media for implicated in these things. So, like I said, when you mean that there's been a year of accountability, is it because of the fish rot?
Yes.
That has nothing, because you need to remember, those guys weren't brought to task. It's not like J-Lo that fired João Lourenço,
Yes.
that fired his minister of fisheries. These people were not fired. Nobody was, actually, let me be very clear, nobody was fired last year.
Even Katrina's case, I think it took the complaints of the people who lost out on the house to launch that case.
And just by the way, with even Katrina, that matter was ACC again, because it was coming from the time she was hard up. And then again, he didn't immediately fire her. He let her go through the court. She stood in court as standing as a minister of education, stood in court as a minister of education, was convicted. After conviction, she stepped down.
Yes.
I am stepping down as the minister. She wasn't fired. So when you tell me accountability, what does it look like for you? Yes, it's a nice word, but what does it look like for you? We saw Saki was allowed to resign. Esa was allowed to resign.
Yeah.
And apart from that, they were given a nice badge of honors about being patriotic and all that.
Yes.
What does accountability look like for you? We have right now another convicted person on the SWAPO list. What's his name? Toby.
Toby Opindia.
Toby Opindia. And he could be considered to be a minister. The president said he's not going to remove him because he got the option of a fine. What does accountability look like?
Yes.
Because I do compare it to other I do compare it to other presidents that are very action driven. What we look at João Lourenço next door, Isabella. He came for her. He fired ministers. He launched this investigation. He told these people, look, bring back money or you're going to jail.
Yes.
And he started the process of firing Dos Santos' children.
And this is something that came internally. It was not like pressure from the outside and then finally he takes action.
Yes. So what does accountability look like?
Mr. Producer, wrap it up. All right, let's wrap it up. We about to wrap it up, man. Me personally, I'm too lazy for civil war shandies. Julle kan maar mekaar Robert Anthony Cornelius saying nice said, morning Maria and Q. My gosh, that's not how you write Q. Robert Derrick, civil war in this country will happen around a braaivleis vuur with a cold beer in the hand. Yes, that's Namibians for you. Shirik's Shambeni. All right, do we really have self-hate, guys? As the president states?
Yeah, we do actually.
In certain instances, yes.
Yeah, we do have.
He's not going to travel till June just because he's afraid of contracting coronavirus, nothing else. By June, he assures the virus is contained. I
heard that joke on social media. Yeah.
Janine, he said that we as the youth, we just complaining. Why can we not look at our resources and come up with innovative ideas? We just want to complain about other fellow blacks who are working and making their own money. What about the white people?
Yeah, make starting up a business easy. Yeah. One station, start up a business within 48 hours, registered, everything set up, like the Rwanda did. And let people get into business and look for opportunities.
Tangeni... Oh, like Janine is asking, why was the fiancé released? I don't know who's fiancé.
Oh, Saki's.
Okay.
We don't know.
Okay. Not traveling till June, is that really an austerity measure? For me, that's so petty and unprecedented, like to say that who's fooling who.
Okay, but I can also just say, let's damned if you do, damned if you do. I mean, at some point, let's also just, when it takes action, let's also just, it can't be there, oh, you travel too much, and then, okay, I'm going to stop traveling. Yeah, now I see you've got energy. No, let's also just commend the man when he actually does do something that we're asking him to stop doing, like not traveling as much, and he hears you and he stops traveling. Yeah, command him. You don't have to try and find an agenda in that. He's heard you. That's why he's doing it.
Okay, Norsa Toiba Kapapilo, this is the last comment I'm going to read, guys. Good morning, crew. The views from the legal fraternity suggest that the court case challenged by the opposition is valid. Now our justice system will pass a litmus test to protect the Constitution and the rule of law, given the outright oversight by the minister in implementing the Electoral Act. This would be an opportunity for our Supreme Court to strengthen this arm of government and public trust. All right, it will be interesting to hear the reasoning in today's judgment.
Yeah, it will be. Well, let's see if it's going to be another case of Malawi and Kenya or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do have. I think they went with the unlawful. It was unlawful route. So let's see. We'll hear today. Informanté will be there. Just by the way. Live broadcasting that judgment. So if you want to tune in and just to keep on top of news, we know we got your back.
Yep, you keep checking out the Informanté Facebook page for the live stream. I think we're gonna cut this one for now.
Yes.
You guys enjoy the rest of the Wednesday. Of course, we are back tomorrow. We're gonna start, or we're gonna be breaking it down for you.
Don't we have somebody in studio tomorrow?
I'm not sure.
Minister of Health, I understand.
Is it?
Yeah, tomorrow.
That should be an interesting
Dr.
one.
Shangula will be in studio tomorrow.
That should be an interesting one.
Yes.
All right. I'm, of course, going to get up to date with what has been happening. As you can clearly see, I'm still a little bit in the dark. But yeah, enjoy the rest of the day. And stay tuned for Hannes Kaufman. Is coming up on the other side of 9 right here on Informanté Radio.